So my dad raced for a long time at Florence, where we race at now. He raced for forever, and then whenever we were born, once we got old enough, we started racing go-karts, and we started racing go-karts at Lake City Speedway, a little go-kart track there, and we moved around some here and there, and then once we got old enough to race cars, my Uncle Bobby Jr. had a little four-cylinder car that he let us drive, and that was at Florence. It was a young guns class, and I think we were 12 years old when we started that, and then we kept moving up into classes, and now I drive a late model stock, and he does too, and he also drives a super truck, and that's what we're doing now. Mainly, we just wanted to be exactly like him ever since we were little. And we were identical twins, same age. We played baseball together, we played video games together, we just did everything together. So, like, whenever we were really young, all we wanted to do was race, and we would play like NASCAR games, like split screen back in the day, side by side, and race each other non-stop every single night. And that's just what we wanted to do, and we loved it, and we're lucky to be able to do it today. We didn't start racing till we were start racing cars until we were probably about 15, but not really seriously until we were probably seniors in high school, I'd say, or after we left that baseball meeting I was talking about. But he really wanted us to play baseball, but we wanted to race. We played a lot of baseball, and we tried hard at that, but ever since we were tiny, we just knew we wanted to race. We have all our families in racing. My Uncle Bobby Jr., he raced some, and we would go with him and some of our other cousins and stuff. So we would always go to the races. Maybe like if we had a baseball tournament that weekend, we would go play baseball and then go watch our family race at night or whatever on the Saturday nights. And it always kept us into racing. My dad raced some. Even when we got older, he was still racing some, and just not as much as he was before. He just didn't want to force it on us. He wanted to make sure that that's what we wanted to do. And he still helps us today. I would say he's our crew chief, and he does a lot for us. He works on the cars every day, and we do too. We spend a lot of time at the race car shops now, and he's the main guy. He pays a lot of the bills, and and he works hard for us to do good. It's a little bit different than like baseball or football. You know, you get recruited by college, and then MLB or whatever, NFL. But in racing, you have to find the right person to help you along the way, or have a huge sponsorship, and that's really, if you can either find somebody that can help you or get a sponsorship. That's the only way you can make it. And we've gotten to the point where we race late model stocks, and it's pretty much the highest level without taking the next step to NASCAR. And to make that next step, we would just have to find like a really, really big sponsor, or find that right person to get us a ride. You could go around to different businesses and ask people if they would help you and stuff like that, but the way we were raised, we don't like asking people for a whole lot. You know, we try to do it with our people we know, and people who just want to reach out to us and help us. And we don't like asking nobody for nothing. That's one thing about us. But it's hard, and it's tough, but we have a lot of great people that do help us with money and sponsorship, whatnot, and we're thankful for all of them that do. I think the first like big car race we won, I was driving my Uncle Bobby Jr.'s car, and I was running second in the race, and I think the leader fell out, and I think it was actually my first race in that car. It was the step down from late models. It was called the Charger class then, and it was awesome. I no feeling like it. I'd say my first win in the late model stock, it came 3 years ago, and one of my good buddies, Kendall Sellers, let me drive his car that night, and I had been racing late models probably 1 or 2 races, and he let me drive his car, and I won, and that was an amazing night. It was a night they had twin races, so we raced twice in the night, and I finished like 6th in the first one, I think, and they inverted the top 9 or something. We started like 3rd in the second race, and I got the lead and won that race, and that was my first late model win. That was a great win. I'd probably say competition. There's a lot of, like, Dale Jr.'s been racing with us 2 or 3 times a year the past 2 years, and people that he's brought to the track from North Carolina that follow him or try to race against him. I mean, Florence Motor Speedway, is now owned by Steve Zacharias and Jacqueline, and they do a great job getting people from not just in South Carolina but North Carolina, Virginia. They come down here, and it's really hard to win against them guys. But both of us been very fortunate to have a bunch of wins the past 2 years. So one of the big things that's happened to us is we met a guy named Kendall Sellers that runs AK Performance up in Mooresville, North Carolina, and he's been bringing a lot of cars to race at Florence, and he asked us to drive one of his cars. And whenever we started driving his cars, it helped both of us win. Cody he just mentioned him, he got his first win in his car, and I got a couple wins, this year, 3 wins actually in his cars. AK Performance and Kendall Sellers, we met him, and he's just been a great friend to us and let us drive his cars and help his program out also, because he likes to develop the drivers to try to get to NASCAR, so we've been helping his program along too. Late model stock racing is kind of what we looked up to want to do, and taking that next step would be awesome. It would just take a lot of sponsorship or meeting the right person, but as far as getting there, I would love to, and I think he would love to as well. It's just hard to make that next step. There is a lot of pressure, but at the same time, like he mentioned before, late model stock racing is kind of what we dreamed of doing anyway. Like whenever we were growing up, we weren't really thinking, hey man, we're gonna make it to NASCAR one day, but because we knew how hard it was to make it, and we just, like we were talking about earlier, we wanted to be just like our dad who races late models, and we just wanted to race late models and win every race that we raced in for that year or whatever. And really, I mean, that's just what we want to do, but we always knew in the back of our mind, if we got that chance, but we would definitely take it, and we would love every second of it.
I've been supporting them, as much as I can, and it's a tough division out there. Anytime you run late model and stuff, and the truck series, they're very, very competitive, and they do a super job. It's, like I said again, it's very, very competitive, and I just always told them to be very respectful to other drivers. We want to do that. We always want to drive our cars, truck, as fast as we can without, getting into somebody else, and driving with respect. I mean, and I think that's one thing that they've really, really capitalized on. Very, very proud of them both. But I kind of like, I'm gonna call it retired or whatever. I haven't been driving any lately, and it's not really missed because I get to participate with them so much and involved in all that. So it's not really missed, the driving part, and it's definitely rewarding to see them perform the way they do. Actually, they're hands-on. I want them to work with the car, on the car, and that I think will help them, or has helped them, knowing how the car reacts to changes and stuff that they do themselves physically, changing different springs, shocks, setups and stuff, and understanding what it does. And then going out there, and when they drive, they can come back, and the feedback that they give with what the change did to the car. And to stay on top of that, it makes them a better driver, and it'll go far with them. I mean, as far as being able to adjust the car to get the car to perform the way they want it to. And they both are very, very good at that, and pay very close attention to what the car does, what they're asking the car to do, and then go adjust it to make it do what they want it to do. They do extremely good. Lots of times, guys that I raced with years ago, they pick at me all the time. They say, "Do you think they're as good as you are, or you were, or whatever?" I said, I pick at them all the time. The boys, I tell them I'm probably 2/10 quicker than they are, but no, all jokes aside, they probably way better than I ever was.